All right, hey guys, Kevin Kim here. We're doing a live episode of Leather Lounge here at Innovate 2021. We're here in beautiful Newport Beach, California. It is nice and sunny out, and today I have some friends with us from all across the country. That's what we're all about, with clients coming from Texas, LA, and New York. And today I wanted to have kind of a casual discussion about just, we're all here now. We're all in person. We're finally out of the house. And talk a little bit about, how you guys are feeling about 2021, how you guys are feeling, how it feels to be out of the house. We're networking again. And then also, I wanted to get a feel from a more middle market retail standpoint, how you guys feel about the market from your local perspective. And we'll talk, let's open it up. So I don't really have any set questions, but first of all, how does it feel to be back out here? We have about 230 people here today, and we're all networking, having fun. How are you guys feeling?
It almost feels normal. It's
almost.
Almost, yeah.
Because we're all wearing masks.
We're wearing masks.
Yeah.
There's some precaution, but it's great to just be able to sit down with people, especially from across the country.
Right.
And it's good to see a lot of old friends.
Yeah.
And people that we do business with, and it's just great to make connections again. So it almost feels like we're back.
Yeah.
I agree. It also felt a little weird just to be around so many people without a mask on, like at the networking event and outside. It was,
First time for me.
Right,
Yeah.
which I didn't like that it felt weird. But now, day 2 is much more normal.
Right.
I get to a point where I don't even realize I have my mask on.
Yeah.
But now I'm sitting there with my mask on, I see that no one is with their mask, and someone comes up to me, are you still with a mask? Why are you on with a mask? And I guess there's a good point, because at the end of the day, many of us got our vaccines. I know I did. I got my first vaccine. But yeah, it's good to be back. It's good to shake hands rather than just seeing people over the...
Good to hug people for once.
Oh my God, forget it. I don't think I've given...
Physical touch, we lost that aspect, yes.
Only hugs I get is from my kids, and that's cool, but I prefer to be hugged by Ruben.
That's why you went in for a hug right away. As soon as I saw you, like, give me a hug.
That's why he said about you too.
Right?
Yeah, it's just weird to see your face. It's like, oh, look, you can walk around and there's some faces.
It was yesterday, I've seen you through here, like this, and that's it, so... Yeah,
my last event live was your event last year, which was in February, so it's been,
me too, actually. I've only had some brief meetings with clients. I had this one really risky lunch. I was like, I don't know these people at all, and they wanted to have a client lunch. I'm like, all right. That was a little weird, but besides that, I've been at home the entire time. So
I've been working out of the office probably, I would say, the second month of COVID.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't work from home anymore. It's tough.
Way.
It's tough. Kids running around, the whole nine. There's no way to focus, but it's good to finally see that other people are doing it as well, which means that things are going to start revitalizing.
Yes. That's a good point. I want to ask about that. How are you guys doing with it? You went to the office.
We went to the office. Now, we don't have a big multi-tenant office. We have our own building. It's small. So it's us and it's our transactional attorneys, our real estate attorneys. So we felt fine about it a couple months in.
Right.
And whoever wanted to come back got to come back. But it was everyone wanted to come back.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I think we had one person that had some health issues, wanted to be virtual, and that was fine. But everyone else is ready to get back in the office really pretty early. So really haven't had that virtual break. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, so we actually have 2 offices. We opened up our second in the middle of COVID, kind of, in the city in Manhattan, and it's an office building, multifamily building, and I can tell you right now, about 80% of it is vacant. The building is vacant. There's still office space that's occupied, but no one is going to the office. Mm-hmm. But as of I would say 2 weeks now, we're starting to see a transition where a lot of people are showing up. I don't know if it's the weather or what have you. People just want to get out of the house, but it's starting to fill up. So we're about 2 weeks now starting to see the same thing that you're seeing. Yeah.
You guys are all working from home at Arixa, right? Most of you guys?
For the most part.
Yeah.
I think Jan and Greg go in the office. They live very close to it. I think there's a handful of people that, you still have to get mail and, process a few things. But myself, I'm at home working.
You're at home?
Yeah.
Because I remember talking to Greg about it. Greg said, no, I'm going out. I'm meeting people. That's Greg, though.
Yeah, no, Greg's been on the field. Even especially actually when COVID first hit, he was out there. He thought it was very important for people to see him, know that we're still here. We're still going to fund your draws.
That's important.
We're not, we're picking up your phone calls. It was extremely important to us.
Yeah, we've been closed down. We have 2 buildings. We own them, thankfully, but we have 2 buildings. Nima has little kids, so he has to go in. He can't work from home.
It's tough.
And same with Tay, he's got 2 kids, so he's and he lives in a 2-bedroom apartment. He's like, I'm not doing this. Yeah. I stayed home primarily because my wife was pregnant and
Congrats on that, by the way.
thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. And she had like, we had some preterm labor scares, so like she's like, if you can stay home, I'd appreciate it. And that was good because like it was one afternoon where she's like, I need to go see the doctor. And if I wasn't home, oof. Yeah. I mean, I've been on Zoom, way too many Zoom calls. I am sick and tired of Zoom, and I'm so glad that we're able to do this. And for our audience, the podcast was never intended to be via Zoom. And we decided to launch it during COVID just because we were all cooped up in the house and we wanted some more content. But, going forward, you will see more live content from us, and we're hoping to commit to that. And I will be visiting each and one of you guys at your offices and doing an actual live in-person live in-person podcast. And we're going to have more live in-person conferences. So, the conference, with this new vibe out there, and this is one of the first in-person conferences. And you guys travel from all across the country, right?
Yeah.
New York, Texas.
I came all ways.
It's still a long drive. LA traffic's a bitch, So, now that you're out and about, and you guys think you guys would be hitting the circuit back, going to all the next few shows. I think we've got one more coming up in Dallas.
Can't stop me.
Can't stop you?
I'm going everywhere.
Let's do this.
Yeah, that's
All right,
it.
all right.
Yeah, I'm ready.
And you guys have been seeing clients though, right? You guys haven't been stopped seeing clients, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
all the time.
Yeah, I'll be there. I've been hitting flights here and there. It feels like things are going the right way.
Good.
So I'll be there.
Fantastic. Well, let's talk about the kind of the market a little bit, because the reason why I asked you all here is, first of all, I like all of you and I respect all of you and I consider you all friends, but you also have a very strong understanding of your local markets.
Yeah.
And so I really want to talk about this at a much more nitty-gritty level, like at the borrower level and on the street. How are things locally? How are you guys feeling?
So, there's one thing that I'm noticing is there's a reservation to buy in the New York City area.
Yeah.
Mainly, it's really with just all the new legislation and moratoriums that came out, specifically surrounding the evictions.
So you still can't evict anyone in New York, right?
We're landlords ourselves. I have a tenant that hasn't paid me going on to about 2.5 years now.
Wow.
And even obviously before COVID, I was battling with her. It was almost impossible to get her out. And here we are now, 2.5 years later, and I can't even start the eviction again. So, this issue of evictions or what have you has really grew a reservation in many multifamily investors or investors in general to not buy properties that are occupied unless they're paying tenants with a proven track record. So there is a reservation, and what we're seeing is that a lot of our investors are looking at properties that are only vacant. So, yeah.
And are they looking at it like they're trying to go after it as a value at play, or?
Whether it's a value, multifamily right now, I think there's a concern to enter that market in the New York City area. But on the fix and flip space, especially, there's really no one buying a property that's occupied.
And we jumped the gun a little bit, so forgive me for being a little bit too casual, but Ruben, tell the audience who you are, what you do, who WeLend is. I know you guys so well that I forgot to tell the audience and ask you guys what you do. So please tell us.
All good. Ruben Izgelov, managing partner of WeLend, based out of New York. Most of what we do is fix and flip bridge, 1 to 4 multifamilies in the New York City, New Jersey, and really just down the Eastern Corridor.
But you guys are expanding, right? Georgia, Florida.
And it's happening naturally.
Good.
Because a lot of our investors today who have the dry powder are going out there and looking for properties outside of New York. So it's Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. I've even seen deals in Alabama. Never even been to Alabama.
There are a lot of factors. Alabama's an interesting place.
Yeah.
I'm Kristina Sawyer with Arixa Capital, and I'm the VP of Lending. And as far as what I'm seeing in the market, before COVID, we were about 60% multifamily and 40% resi, and now that's flipped. We're probably 85% resi. We're just started towards the Q4, started lending on the multifamily space again. But, the big play was the value add, where you'd buy it, get the tenants out, we'd finance the tenant relocation, and then do the whole process. And now you can't do that. It's very selective with our multifamily products, and That's the biggest, I think, adjustment for us.
Still the same thing then, you're looking
Yeah.
for more vacant properties around multifamilies or?
They'll
or good
definitely do some more,
tenants?
some more vacant properties, which we've done several multifamilies that I think that they were actively getting tenants out before COVID hit. You also have some tenants who are willing to, relocate for a price, even though the restrictions are there.
Yeah.
But the eviction process has to change. It's really affecting, even the small mom and pop investors, even myself, I have tenants in there that aren't paying as well, so it affects us.
Yeah.
Wow. Vincent Balagia, Stallion Capital Management out of Austin, Texas. We're a fund manager. We also lend on 1 to 4 family, multifamily, land, and light commercial, a little bit of light industrial, which has been really strong in Texas. It's interesting because we haven't had these eviction problems.
Because you're in the great state of Texas,
we're in
man.
Texas. It's like, don't pay, you're out.
Yep,
And,
best foreclosure laws in the country.
That's right. That's why we wear boots, right?
That's why you're good.
Yeah.
Kick them out.
But so that has been good because there just isn't that risk. Now, on a county by county basis, there have been some counties where we've had some foreclosure issues. Bexar County, San Antonio, hasn't allowed foreclosures for most of the last year. So
Really?
that's been an issue. But they're allowing foreclosures.
You think it'd be Austin, not San Antonio?
Not the case. We were worried a little bit about that because our mayor did shut down construction for about 2 weeks until the governor came in and reestablished construction as an essential activity. But only Bexar County has been an issue. And so with evictions, with foreclosures, there is that risk of default, that risk of being taken out of a property. So that hasn't been a big deal. But the thing with us though is that we just don't have enough housing. So everyone continues to come into Central Texas or Dallas, Houston, San Antonio. Those are our 4 main cities.
There's so much new construction going on in Texas.
There is. There's a ton, but still we're really undersupplied.
Yeah.
And so what we've seen lately has just been this incredible value increase in Austin, almost to where it's scary, almost to where, being someone that's from Austin, I'm a little bit worried about negotiation.
I was shopping houses in Austin just for the heck of it, in the middle of COVID, because I had 2 friends that had moved to Plano, and I was like, I'm not moving to Plano. If I'm moving to Texas, I'm moving near Vince. I'm moving to Austin. And I was looking at houses. In Austin. They're close to Orange County pricing. I was like, this is kind of ridiculous. And I was talking to I think it was Jaden over. Nobody's like, yeah, it's getting kind of bad. Like, you guys got to stop coming out here because the pricing out here is getting ridiculous. So.
Well, I'm curious, as a lender, how do you, your LTCs and LTVs, are you moving up with the values so quickly?
So in our loan committee meetings that we have, we're getting these appraisals in, and I'm saying, okay, where are the values coming from? When did these things close? And really, the values are substantiated based upon the comps. But honestly, I'm coming in and just hacking off some of the value that we're getting. And I'm saying, okay, the deal still works at a 60% LTV, and we still obviously want cash, and we want to be doing good loans, but I just want to be careful that we're not coming up here to these values, underwriting up here, and then the pendulum swings the other way, and we're at 100% LTV. Just what I want to avoid. So.
Do the local, I guess, realtors also kind of like echo that sentiment because it's like overly inflated, like hyperinflated? Because that's what we're hearing here. In Orange County and LA. I've had realtors tell me that you're overpaying, but it is what it is,
It's for some, I think it's just party time.
Oh yeah.
But because the environment right now is some people are coming into the market kind of at a traditional value, or even a little bit below, to go and get 60 offers on single family.
Yeah.
And it's so, and then it gets bid up higher than people would ever think.
Yes.
And so,
We're seeing that too.
Yeah, are you seeing that too? Yeah.
Are the big builders coming in droves to Texas right now?
Well,
you know how in LA and in California, there's not much room to build anymore. Unless you're doing it in the Inland Empire, it's not much room.
No, you're taking existing properties.
They're redoing everything, right? And you guys have been posting some great photos. Those houses are amazing.
Yeah, we have some
Texas. There's
developers.
so much land.
There's a lot of land, but really a lot of the big parcels, especially in your kind of around Austin, a lot of them have been bought up. We just sold 300 acres, in fact, on a property a loan that didn't go well. We took it back and made a nice profit on it. But that we started to get calls on that property after it was already under contract, and we knew that had we not been under contract, I think in the fall of last year, we'd have got a really pretty bidding now. But there's just not, there are these large tracts that builders want to come in, they're just not available the way that they used to.
Wow, interesting.
Now, Dallas Metroplex, different.
Yeah.
Houston, maybe a little bit different.
Yeah.
But things haven't gone crazy in Houston or San Antonio like they have in Austin and then to a similar degree Dallas.
Okay.
So.
Okay. I mean, so the inventory question is an interesting one because each locale, each geography has its own unique inventory issues, and even compared to LA to Orange County, right? But New York is a very interesting place, right? I mean, because you guys have aging inventory. There's not a lot of room to build, but
Yeah.
I've heard that a lot of people are starting to invest and build more in
Upstate,
in the suburbs.
Suffolk and Nassau County, we're starting to see a lot of transitioning happening over there. For us, I mean, we're seeing inventory, but the problem is that it's occupied. You know, so for an investor or a speculator who's trying to go in there and renovate the place or try to reposition it, their whole only concern is that it's occupied with squatters or non-paying tenants, and there's this hesitation. But a lot of our investors are now looking into Suffolk and Nassau and upstate for land to be able to develop on. So we're also seeing the same transition. We're also seeing a transition of going into other states like New Jersey or what have you. I mean, right before we came here, I was looking at some of the numbers, and my loan sizes in states like New Jersey or in Connecticut have almost grown by about 20 to 30%.
Really?
In just a few months. But just to kind of offset the risk on that end, similar to what you're doing, is we're shaving off maybe 15 to 20% of the after repair value or after reposition value to make sure that the deal still makes sense, even if that was to happen again, right? So we're going in cautious, considering what's happening today.
Well, how about California? I mean it's a huge state, biggest economy in the country, but even in LA proper, I mean, there's so many. You have aging inventory. You have some new development going on in pockets of the valley, but in Orange County, we don't see any new development anymore. All we basically see is apartments being built by Lennar.
Well, the big blow up is the ADUs, right? So that
I forgot about that.
that is
that's a huge trend right now.
Huge trend.
Yeah. You guys see that in your guys' neck of the woods?
No, we're talking about the senior and the junior ADUs. That's happening.
What, so explain to me what an ADU is.
So it's accessory dwelling units, what ADU stands for, right?
We're seeing a lot of that today as well.
Build in your backyard, right?
Are you guys
Build in your
calling
backyard.
ADUs?
We call it an accessory dwelling use, so similar in its own way. And I'm looking at my garage today and thinking, all right, what can I do out of it? What can I make out of it? I mean, is there something to do with this,
Well, even like the granny flat construction, they rolled out, they have 10, 10 template plans that you can go get approved in one day.
Wow.
To really expedite.
In California, in LA,
in LA,
impossible.
which is impossible.
Impossible.
I mean, I think the biggest complaint with developers right now is how long it's taking to get CFOs and permits and that whole process.
And it always took a long time.
Yeah.
So
if you can find the right property and you can go get this one-day permit to build this, I mean, you don't have a lot of artistic influence on it. You get to choose one, but it's an interesting product. But the problem is, just like you mentioned, we have people with 60 offers for each property.
it's hyperinflated.
Yeah, so a lot of our developers, I mean, we're sending them proof of fund letters, and they come back and they're like, it's just not, it doesn't pencil anymore.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
So,
But are you guys knocking them down too?
If
you want to make it happen.
Yeah, I think it depends. I mean, like in Los Angeles, I think we have a very interesting market. So, a lot of people are leaving in LA.
Yeah.
It might be a little of a, not such a great market today economy-wise, but like we have the Super Bowl coming in 2022. We have the Olympics coming.
We'll see. I'm hoping we get the Super Bowl.
I'm very optimistic. My point is, I think the LA economy in general, even if the prices dropped a little bit, they're always going to continue to appreciate.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas you may not see that in every metropolitan area, but LA is definitely one of them.
But you guys don't just concentrate on LA, you guys are doing all over, right? All over Southern California? I mean...
Well, we're doing all over California, and we are in other states too. We just kind of organically expand our geographic.
Right. I know you guys have been expanding, mostly West Coast states, right?
Mostly West Coast. I mean, we have a handful in the East Coast states, but that's just following really good clients.
Oh, I didn't know
we're
that.
not out there marketing.
Okay, well, you guys can do some...
absolutely.
I didn't know you guys were expanding to the East Coast. That's
Yeah.
cool. Well, you just mentioned something that I really want to kind of touch on is this great migration. And I did a short video on it, but like I mentioned it earlier, like a lot of my friends have moved, just personal friends have moved, Arizona, Texas, Florida,
Wow.
right, out where you guys are, right? A lot of celebrities have moved, right? We had some clients that had holed up, Montana. We had a client in San Diego, he holed up in Montana for a solid 6 months. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
So I think he's planning to move, but So how has that influenced you guys? You guys seeing what's that impact on you guys' actual business on a day-to-day basis?
Well, I say LA, go. LA can use a little less people in it.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Today I have a lot of same as you, friends and family just moving to Florida,
Yeah.
and we're starting to get calls. Are you renting
You thought about
Florida?
it. You thought about
Oh,
moving.
forget it. I would
Yeah.
love it. I would love it. I have
They're all
too
moving
much-
back, right? From Florida?
It looks like they're starting to regret it, because now that they're seeing that everything is kind of returning back to normalcy and
It's a big
so on.
difference. Big difference.
It
If they're living in Metro New York and you move to Miami, it's a huge difference.
It's an adjustment.
Yeah.
It
Sure.
really is. Especially for someone that's lived in one area or one place for so many years, and for you to just get
Oh,
up
yeah.
and go, and considering what's happening now that everything is transitioning back to normalcy, I mean, you're starting to look back in the rearview mirror and starting to reconsider.
Yeah, we're kind of saying stop.
Yeah.
Slow down.
You're the victim of it,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly. Yes.
If you see California plates in Texas, no offense to anyone from California, but it's surprising, just the number of people that are coming from around the country.
Yeah.
They haven't been through an Austin summer yet, though, and that might change your mind.
Well,
Yeah.
the Austin winter, I knew several people from LA that didn't have water for like 3 days. They were
That's
like,
true.
why did we move?
My brother was actually one of those people that moved into to Texas, so he's experienced exactly what you just mentioned. I mean, he went through hell.
Never in my
Those-
life,
yeah.
Or have even heard of anything
Yeah.
about like what happened.
Yeah.
Well, 2020 had a lot of surprises for us. I feel like
That's
it
right.
tailed in 2020 because in LA, I don't know about you, we had hail this past winter.
Yes.
It hasn't hailed here in 30 years. I remember I was a child when it hailed. So
By the
like,
beach.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So we had hail here. So I feel like the devil just kind of went, like, so Texas suffered a lot.
Yeah, he hit us, no doubt.
Yeah. But
Yeah, but still, people are coming in.
Yeah.
And
you said they're inflating values.
And I think that's just it, because I think when you're coming from a place like LA or the rest of
Yeah.
California, you see these low prices per square foot, you think you're getting a bargain.
Yeah.
And now those bargains are not there
Yeah.
the way that they used to be. And so it is, and so we're getting crowded. The ADU thing is picking up quite a bit, so you're getting a lot more density. But we've been talking about kind of really structuring the city and looking at how at transit and everything else. And Austin and a lot of Texas has always been behind the times.
Yeah.
And we're really not prepared for the amount of people that are coming in. And so it has created a number of problems, and we're starting to get we've had traffic problems forever, not LA traffic problems, but
You're
it's
getting
getting
them.
there.
Yeah.
Especially, well, and it's funny because, right, the roads have been dead for the
Yeah.
last year. And I would say about 6 weeks ago, we started to slow down. And before I left, I thought, oh wow, this is getting really bad again. So so we're pretty open. You can just tell by
Yeah.
how stuck we are. But lots of other cars.
Do you think it's all temporary? I mean, are people actually buying, or are more people renting?
People are buying because really the inventory is not there to rent. That's really one of our biggest issues. Even though we have the land, we're not landlocked.
Yeah.
It still takes 24 months to develop a significant project in Austin, or longer.
Yeah.
Single family less than that, but builders cannot get lots fast enough, and then developers can't get land.
Yeah.
So we're a little stuck right now.
Well, the housing prices are much lower than in California.
Absolutely.
So a lot of people who probably were renting here are moving there to buy
Yeah.
the space and the remote work.
I feel like Austin though is a little bit inflated. Even like the price per square foot is pretty close to LA now. Place like California prices. I feel like Austin prices and Orange County's prices are pretty on par now. Maybe a little bit cheaper. But like you look at parts of San Antonio and Dallas, and I was looking at Plano, and it's like half.
Yeah.
And my friend was showing off his house. It was beautiful 5,000 square foot like mansion, and he's like, "Guess how much I paid for it." I hate you so much. I told him though, it's gonna be hot, it's gonna be humid, and your wife has curly hair, so you wait.
Yeah.
You wait.
This hair would not work in humidity.
Hey, there are disadvantages.
Yeah. 'Cause we've got good weather all year round, but like that's an interesting thing. Is like the inventory question, and I wonder with the ADUs, like we have a good friend and client who specializes in ADUs, and he can't stop. So much business coming his way, and he thrived the pandemic. But do you think you guys see yourselves kind of jumping into that bandwagon a little bit and doing more of that? I know you guys are doing them, but like you
No,
guys,
we're in. We're
Yeah.
financing them.
We've been doing it for years,
Fantastic.
and now we're having. And I thought it was interesting the discussion we had today, where yes, we have our ADUs, but now we have our junior ADUs, and what we call them are casitas. And so you'll have two structures that can be sold independently, but one of them will have this casita. It can't have a kitchen, right? It's really just kind of an extra
Like a guest
large
house kind of
bedroom.
thing?
Exactly.
Okay.
But what's happening is the buyers are coming in and they have a place that they're renting out, or maybe putting a mother-in-law in, and they're really pushing a lot of value. So
Are they in the same parcel?
they are on the same parcel.
But you can sell them independently?
So, no, so what'll happen is you'll take a single family house, take that down, put up 2 units that can be sold independently.
Okay.
But then one of those units will have this casita on the back. So it has to stay with that unit. But you have a stream of revenue that comes in because people will rent those for a pretty
Like
cheap.
Airbnb it out, whatever you
Any
want,
of those
yeah.
things.
And when South by Southwest comes to town, those things are probably real popular, so.
They will be when it, maybe next year.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You kind of
yeah.
missed these past 2 years.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Next year after that, yeah.
But let me ask you this, like, Texas lot sizes, I mean, comparatively speaking, because LA, the older properties have medium-sized lots, but even in LA, the lots aren't that big. In Orange County, some parts of Orange County have pretty big lots, and it makes sense for a really nice ADU, but like, Texas lot sizes are huge, aren't they?
They are.
So like, it's not really an ADU, I mean, in my mind, when I hear ADU, it's like a smaller house in the back, but it's not like a cottage. It's actually, they're building a full-on house.
Probably bigger than most of our houses.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm saying, right?
So most ADUs, as you've heard about them, are anywhere from say 900 to 1,100 square feet. But then these little casitas are usually 450 to 500 square feet.
Okay, so it's close to what we're doing here in LA, yeah.
And there's always a trick where you'll build that and you'll put a porch on, maybe
Yeah.
200 square feet, and then after it's sold, you might accidentally enclose that and have another bedroom or something like that.
Well, and if you even look at like the middle of California, those markets are really booming right now too, because
Yeah.
people are moving outside of the metropolitan
Orange
cities.
County is suffering that problem. A lot of folks are moving out of LA and come to Orange County
County.
even. And my friend sold he has this like really old, like 1970, the oldest development in Irvine. And 2-bedroom condo or townhouse. He sold it in 3 days for $100,000 above asking. I was
Wow.
like, you gotta be kidding me. Like,
Yeah.
because just inflation, right? But he luckily found a place to buy. But like, an interesting thing is like other parts of the state, right? So you're saying other parts of the state are seeing transitions and migrations.
So like Bakersfield and Fresno are booming right now.
Fresno, Bakersfield, all the dust and the.
Yeah. Look, it may not be your most desirable place,
Yeah.
but if
You're getting out of LA.
yeah, but if you go like to the Valley of LA and then just go, 40 miles more to get to Bakersfield,
That's true.
and
That's
you're
true.
getting quadruple the size, in space,
Yeah.
and you're working remotely, you're seeing a lot of that too.
That makes sense. I mean, if I were in LA, I would probably flee and be in Orange County or maybe Porter Ranch or something like that. So, what you guys in New York? What's going on?
I mean, a lot. It's in a way that
You moved, right?
I moved right before COVID. I moved into finally a house. I sold my condo and I finally moved into a house right before COVID. So really lucked out
Yeah.
on that. My wife, speaking of Texas, my wife was looking because her brother moved there and she was looking at some on Zillow on some houses and she was showing me some house for like 600,000,
Yeah.
700,000. I mean, they're ginormous compared to what I have. We're talking about
And
2-3
the
acre
lot
lots.
size.
Yeah, 2-3 acre lots. I mean,
Yeah.
the whole nine. And she's looking at me and looking at this house. She's like, "What are we doing here?" I'm like, "We just moved here. What are you thinking?" I mean, I don't get it. So, we might be one of those people that might just come join.
Give me a
you know.
call.
So
Give me a
yeah.
call. I'll try to dissuade you. But
Well, I mean, you got humidity. You got humidity.
Don't
so-
worry about me, I'm staying put.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. So I'll talk about. I try to get my wife to go. My mom didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I need my parents to buy nearby for my
Yeah,
kids.
same here.
They wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
They're like, we're staying. So.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I mean, we have too much kind of holding us down in New York for us to make any transition. But we're seeing a lot of people just moving out. You're seeing people coming in. You're seeing people kind of transition from one county to the other. For us, they're just moving out.
Now, when they move out, is the majority down south to Florida, to Texas, or is it to New Jersey, Connecticut?
What we're seeing is a lot of people moving out to Florida, but also to New Jersey.
Okay.
Just because of, when COVID happened, everyone was in their apartments, and selling their condos, being able to buy something in Florida was in New Jersey was absolutely doable.
Yeah.
But now if you look at the New Jersey market, I mean, kind of same thing as what you're seeing in Texas. You're looking at, 50 to 60 offers on one single property with, $100,000, $200,000 over asking. So unless you're coming in with all cash or a significant amount of cash, you really just can't outbid or even compete. So yeah.
Yeah, That's crazy. How are other parts of Texas doing these days? I mean, you guys still lend in other parts of the state.
So Texas is huge, right?
Yeah, massive. It's massive.
It is. So if you look where we lend, we're a lot along the I-35 corridor, which is Dallas, then Austin, and San Antonio.
Yeah.
And then you have Houston over here.
Yeah.
But
All the basketball teams, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. But,
Major metros.
But you have Waco, which
Yeah.
is a little town a lot of people haven't heard of, that if you're not from Texas, that's
Oh, we've
in
heard of
between.
it. In the news
Well, that's
in
right,
the
that's right.
90s, yeah.
Everyone knows about Waco now, it's on the map, especially after Baylor, right?
Yeah.
But Waco is really blowing up.
Oh, really?
And
Okay.
then for Waco, right? And
Yeah.
then in between Austin and San Antonio, you have these two little towns called San Marcos and New Braunfels. So really, it's almost becoming one city in between Austin and San Antonio. And then same thing, you have just a lot of growth north, that's from Austin to Waco down. And so everything's just kind of filling in along the transportation corridors. You go outside of that, and it's hard to buy land because everyone over this last year has bought every large tract of land that's
Oh,
out
really?
there. Yeah.
Oh.
But then Houston still has some room as well. So we're not locked in like what your markets are, but we're getting a lot of fill-in, and it's moving quickly.
Because there's a lot of speculation about, like, Oracle just moved, the CEO of Oracle just moved there, but like, there was talk that Goldman Sachs was thinking about moving its entire alternatives desk to Dallas. And the disruption that will cause is going to be massive. If Tesla moves its operations to Texas, I mean, that's going to, the amount of disruption it's going to cause into the market. I mean, you guys, any news on that kind of stuff, or any updates on that kind of stuff?
So specifically, I say, I'm not sure, I'm gonna wait, but I think the expectation is more and more coming. So, right, more headquarters are coming, more manufacturing is coming, more good jobs are coming.
So I mean, that means more apartments? It means more condos?
It does, and you also, it also means that you have a constant demand for single family, right? Because people in Texas, we've become much more dense in our housing, but at the same time, people like to have a yard, a house, a neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so, and of course, the traffic has died down tremendously, even though it's on its way back. So there's definitely a shift there, but we keep seeing these major employers coming in, and we do have a pro-business environment.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that it's going to stop. And that's the discussion we're having is, when do things slow down? Nobody knows, and we're not seeing it happen yet, because we do have room to grow.
Right. So let's talk about so before COVID happened, I had been on a bunch of panels and talks about like the race to the bottom. Like that it is becoming a race to the bottom. There are lenders doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yes.
We saw everyone kind of pull rank and be much more conservative during COVID, but now things are kind of stabilized. Everyone's saying things are back to normal in the residential world, at least. Commercial is still kind of hobbling its way along. In the traditional asset classes, but in residential at least. How are things for you guys when it comes to that kind of stuff? I mean, how are you feeling? I mean, is it aggressive again? Are the brokers demanding and the borrowers demanding all kinds of crazy loans?
The brokers are always demanding.
Okay.
That's part of their job, right?
That's their job.
Yeah, that's their job.
Zealously represent their
We
client.
love brokers.
We all love
We all
brokers.
love
Come on, we all love
brokers.
brokers.
Sure.
We
They're supposed to
appreciate
do
you,
that.
brother.
You know, what would we do without them? But, you know, ultimately there was, like you said, a compression in underwriting in terms of conservatism. We feel that, you know, with everything that's still happening, we don't know what's to come. We don't know if there's going to be a new strand that's going to resurface and, you know, things are going to get just as bad. We hope it's not, but we are thinking long term. We want to see a bit more level kind of playing field just moving forward. And I think that's when we're going to go back into the aggressiveness. But as of today, a lot of what we're seeing instead of the fix and flip is the debt service coverage ratio.
Oh, yeah. DSCR
DSCRs
rentals are massive demand for that right now.
It's huge. It's huge. You know, New Jersey for us has been growing exponentially in that specific program. So that's kind of the transition that
But
we're
even
seeing.
that, I just heard today, rates are going down to conventional mortgage rates.
Yeah.
2.5, 3.5, like it's getting pretty dicey out there.
It's becoming very competitive with the conventional lenders.
Yeah.
Which is a good sign.
How are you guys?
You know, it's interesting. I think when we first started lending again, like the summer of 2020, we were seeing better rates than, you know, that we were used to. 'Cause,
California lenders were excited.
We were excited.
Like, oh, is Is it 10-2 again, guys?
When I first started working for Arixa, it was like 13%.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So like
When I joined
we didn't get
Rossi,
quite that good.
It was 12-2, and I was like, this is amazing. And then literally like a couple years later, it was like 10-2, 8-1, like.
And I also think it kind of rebalanced the playing field because a lot of the it was a very competitive market with all the private lenders, and a lot of people were giving 100% leverage.
Yes.
Which we're not your lender if that's what you're looking for.
Yes.
So I think some of those people didn't make it through. I think some of the bigger companies, the ones that had a little bit more of a cushion, you saw it come through. But now I think our rates are pretty much back to what they were pre-COVID.
High singles.
Mm-hmm. But then you have some competitors that are providing really low, private money rates that are, hard
Someone
to
told me about it last night. They were seeing a flip in California in the 6s or something.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was hearing the same thing.
Yeah.
Mid 6s.
I just saw it happen on one of our loans.
Wow.
Yeah. So, which is,
You and I have been talking about rate compression in Texas for nearly 4 years now, 5 years almost now.
So the people keep coming, the rates keep dropping.
What happened?
You're having a really good time, aren't you?
What is going on?
See, the message of the entire podcast is the great state of Texas. But wait, so last year though, did rates do anything last
They
year?
did. So when this thing hit, March, April, the rates have been coming down because people have been using so much leverage.
Yeah.
Right. And or originating and selling. And that's never been our model. We're a portfolio lender. And so we would see these rates come down, and then in end of March and April, we got a bunch of calls from those lenders because their warehouse lines had been turned off.
Yeah, help us out, please.
Yeah, please help.
Yeah.
We didn't. We said, sorry, that's what happens. No, we didn't. No, we tried to help them out as much as we could.
Leave Texas.
Right. We said, please. But no, so we did. We had kind of a little bit of a spike in rates. We weren't trying to do too much, but then I would say it was quiet probably until the end of the third quarter. And then at the end of the third quarter, it seemed like, okay, confidence has kind of returned, and then you saw those rates come back down in the fourth quarter, and they've continued. So,
but Texas is still pretty healthy numbers.
We're still healthy, but money coming in from outside is pushing those rates down.
That's true. Wall Street loves Texas right now.
So what's a healthy rate?
It's true. What is a healthy rate?
What's a healthy rate?
As Californians, like what, like 8?
That's healthy.
Yeah.
So we closed a loan this week, I think at 3 and 11, which was
that's very healthy.
That's amazing. You chase that. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's healthy, but where it is soon will be 10 and 2, and where it could be might be 1.5, 2, and maybe 9. So we always.
It was creeping on that, and at the tail end of 19.
Yeah. But really a lot of it's just because of people not being balance sheet lenders. Coming in.
Wall Street disruption.
Yeah, I mean that's really kind of what's happening.
But I feel like Texas and parts of not all the southern states, but Texas, some pieces of the Midwest are kind of insulated from Wall Street in the sense that while we were seeing, I was seeing construction loans at 6.5% on deals that should have been priced at 10.5% here, but Texas never really fell below 10 that often, and the relationships you guys had seem to be driving the answer too.
Well, I think so. I think it is, and so that's really what our strategy is to really know and understand our clients, and to make sure that someone can't come in with just a lower rate.
Yeah.
Right? If we're your lender in town, or at least very close, we're hoping to maintain those relationships.
And I know Texans are very proud of their heritage. Do your borrowers tend to choose local shops and stick with local shops?
They do, all right,
Yeah.
because I think everyone wants to deal with someone that you can meet with.
Yeah.
Or we can go meet at a job site, and we can
yeah.
really kind of discuss things versus someone you don't really know that you're talking to on the phone.
Right,
I think that's a
right.
big deal. So we're trying to maintain that, and actually, really over the last year, that's what I've been talking about with our team, is to say, let's leverage what we can do with our clients, and let's really know them well and really serve them through this really difficult time.
Right.
And then what happened was, where there was a ton of fear in the second quarter of last year, all of a sudden people figured out that, wait a minute, no one's building right now. Everyone's being very gun shy about putting new product on the ground. And so I was kind of calling last summer saying, if this continues, we're going to have a major supply shortage come end of the year / first quarter of this year, and that's what's happened.
Yeah.
And so I've just been encouraging people that really execute well, builders that execute well, don't stop looking. we're happy to be your partner right now
Yeah.
because we know that you're going to be building into a really good
For sure.
company. So-
Did New York stop construction?
No, I
No.
mean, it's still ongoing. I mean, there has
Really?
been,
Even with Cuomo?
there's been an issue, well, when I say ongoing, I mean for those that were already mid-project.
So no new construction.
construction. I think a lot of people are just kind of taking a step back and are just waiting to see what's happening, especially now with the mayoral run. But aside from that, I think there's also been a lot of lenders who kind of stepped away, and Wall Street especially,
Yeah.
stepped away from funding or lending in New York or financing those type of deals because of all the uncertainty in that
Yeah.
area. But as far as the rates, I mean, it's amazing to see 11 and 3. I think the most we've seen in just the past couple of months is 10 and 2. Sometimes we might get away with 2.5, but that's kind of where we
So
are.
double digits.
Yeah.
That's very
No, it was kind of funny. We were talking about this because you were telling me in 19 rates were hitting California levels. They were hitting them.
Yeah, it was hard to compete.
Yeah.
It was really hard to compete.
I was kind of like laughing on the inside, like, ha ha, feel my pain. Feel my pain. Thank you, Wall Street. But that's the reality of it, right? Because
Yeah.
New York's the hub where all Wall Street loves the New York lenders.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and it's been a good trend up until obviously COVID.
Yeah.
But it also seems like there's been a trigger of interest moving forward.
Good.
So we look forward to what's to come in the next couple of quarters.
Yeah.
So let's kind of talk about now. We've got, it's what? It's April. It's April. We got 8 months left in the year. We've got 22 and 22 upon us. There's been a lot of speculation about where we're headed next year, this year too, I guess. How are you guys feeling? What moves are you guys making for the rest of the year? What are you guys planning on for into 2022?
Well, Arixa is having its biggest origination month. We've already, this far in midway through April, have already beat our highest origination month. So we're almost going to double it.
You broke your own personal records and you're
in 2
doubling
weeks.
it?
And we're going to probably double it by the end of the month.
We're only 2 weeks into April.
Yep.
Really?
That's awesome.
No, but
So-
you're not the only one who told me that. A lot of people have been saying, like, the past few months have been record this or record that. And it's like, that's amazing. I'm so happy to hear that.
Well, and I can contribute most of it to them not stopping construction. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, they did a little bit in the northern part of California, but in the southern part they didn't.
Only in San Francisco.
But it would have
proper.
been catastrophic if they would have.
Yeah.
But luckily they didn't stop it. Everyone kept building.
Yeah.
And
The one
then
thing Garcetti did right is he let us build.
I agree
Yeah,
with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then, across the nation, the interest rates definitely, has helped the market too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that will be an interesting thing to watch over the next year. But I don't see us really slowing down.
Are you guys making more investment in LOs and back office and all that kind of stuff?
Yep, we are. Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely have
Fantastic.
grown our origination team and, definitely building out the ops team. We've hired a lot of really great quality people to the team.
Yep.
And so this is kind of the year
I
that,
concur.
yeah, this is the year I think that we really, really step up. So I don't see it changing. I think we will adapt as it changes, as they come. Like we roll out new products and different things like that, as it permits.
Expanding to new markets?
We will be expanding to new markets, opening up the Arizona
Yes.
office. So that's the newest and greatest.
Yeah.
We have no interest in going to Texas right now
Good.
because I'm sure it's, and no interest to go to New York either. So there you go.
Leave the boys alone. Leave the boys alone.
Visit, just don't stay.
I think there's certain states there's certain states that only make sense if you're actually there because they're already heavily populated with lenders.
Yeah, yeah. And it's very also like, New York is just a saturated market like California, but Texas is a very relationship-driven market.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's not a lot of lenders in Texas.
There's
Right.
there's not a lot. It's
Yeah.
not like out here.
Yeah.
But you have seen lenders do well, and we have seen proliferation over the last 5
A
years.
lot of folks have entered Texas,
That's right.
right? But they're not there.
They're not there,
Yeah.
right? They don't have home base there,
Yeah.
which is a big deal.
Yeah. So what are you guys doing? Look into the rest of the year in 2022. How's things?
So I think residential is going to continue to be really strong. Same thing with multifamily,
Mhm.
because again, we're not getting into these eviction issues.
Yeah.
Still being really careful with office. I really want to see what happens if people are going to be coming back.
Yeah.
So really staying away from multi-tenant buildings.
Yeah.
Hospitality is still scary, but I think that things are getting better there.
Are you guys seeing a trend? Actually, we haven't talked about hospitality, but hospitality conversions have become a big trend. You guys seeing that?
Yeah.
Two multifamily.
Yeah,
is what
apartments,
we're seeing.
condos.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big deal because that's a way to get a lot of units on the
Yeah.
ground quickly.
Yeah.
But I think that you're starting to see the occupancy rates pop up.
Okay.
For hospitality. So we'll see. It's funny, I was downstairs today on the phone with a guy who, we have one property that is a hospitality property that had issues, and now we're starting to get a lot of interest on it, probably over the last 3 weeks or so. So that may be coming back, but we're going to be very careful with it. So mostly residential and multifamily, and I think that'll do really well.
Well, staffing wise, I know that the boys are here, the core team here, but you guys have other staff members.
We're hiring. I've got 3 positions right now.
Well, there you go. Stallion's hiring, y'all.
We're hiring. Please
That's been an interesting topic, because I've had this discussion with a lot of clients. So some clients are saying, okay, we're going to wait because it's so hard to hire right now. It's so hard to find good talent right now.
We're all taken.
Yeah. Well, you guys picked up some great talent.
Oh, yeah.
But other folks are saying we're on a hiring tear. We're going to pick up as many back office people and LOs as we can. We already saw some lateral moves on the back office side, processes that we've known forever. But it's interesting on the staffing side, because a lot of people were dislocated or let go or laid off from a lot of the big institutional shops. And now they're working retail. They're working at various different retail shops. They've joined forces as LOs. They've either partnered with a family office or whatever have you to be their head of origination or whatever have you. And so I'm glad to see them on their feet, but it's a right market to find talent. And let me ask you this: you've always had a really solid team. And I know you've been hiring, but you've always been on a great hiring. And you and I had this discussion about process.
Yeah.
So what's the plan going forward in 2022, 2021?
COVID was kind of a blessing in disguise for many people, in the sense that for us, at the very least, it allowed us and gave us the time to restructure and regroup. And one of the things that we emphasize on is technology. And that's exactly what we've been doing since COVID hit, is just focusing on our technology, trying to automate as much as we can to be able to do just as many loans as we did in the past.
Are you going through the process of creating your own software? Are you buying software?
So we bought software, and we're just building on top of it through other software, and it's becoming expensive. Yeah. But it's like a rabbit hole in and of itself.
Yeah. Try building it yourself. I mean, one of the common threads we heard was a lot of folks built I interviewed Steve in this very room and Pollock from Anchor, and they had to build their own software because it didn't exist.
Thankfully, I did not go that route.
You guys did. Yeah, and a lot of folks had to build it themselves.
We're thinking that eventually we will go that route, but we want to just build a software on top of the software that.
And this is a back office LOS. Or?
Exactly. Okay. It really just helps automate a lot of the processing and sales, where there's really very little thinking that's required of whether it's the loan officer or of the processor. We want to minimize as much as we want to minimize the amount of time that they put into every single file.
Speed the process up.
This way it's a lot more efficient, and we can just scale up as fast as we can, because in the past several months since COVID hit, what we've been doing, and we had to do, other than building the technology, is focusing on other states. Texas not being one of them.
Right.
California not being one of them.
I've told them, stay out of California. Do not come here. It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
It was more of a necessity than as anything.
But you
else.
basically just headed nearby states, southern markets.
Yeah, right? Exactly. And we can't wait for New York to come back, because once it does, not only do we get this market share in other states, but we'll always have our market share in New York. We've always been trying to continue developing those relationships, and not only developing but maintaining them, guiding our existing investor base in New York to try to transition into other states, showing them the ways, making the introductions. Just to make sure that we're always involved with them in one capacity or another, so that when New York does come back, we still have that connection that we had even before COVID.
Sure. So from a lending standpoint, besides going to different states, what products are you going to be focusing on?
DSCR. I think that's huge. And
are you guys all doing DSCR right now?
Not as much.
I know you guys are. Yeah.
We're trying to roll it out.
Yeah. I think it's the future. At least for the next year or two.
There's a lot of demand for
3 years. Yeah. It's huge.
Yeah. How about so I'm hearing concentrating more on software. So you're downsizing.
So we had to,
processes.
Exactly. So for us, what we're preparing for is scalability, high efficiency, low margins, but high efficiency.
Yeah.
That's really the motto for us moving forward, and the only way that we see that can happen is by investing into the technology.
That because though, it's so hard to find good talent? Is that part of it? Because you and I've had this discussion.
Yeah.
It is so hard to find good talent out there.
It really, really is. And to your point, one of the things that we started kind of playing with is looking for people abroad, right? Whether it's in Israel, Philippines, South Africa, Colombia. I mean, there's really amazing talent. People that have relocated, from New York, not to Florida or to Texas or California, but to Israel or to, Colombia or what have you. Amazing talent. They know what they're doing for a fraction of the price. So that's kind of
We talked about that one time. Philippines. We use some staff in the Philippines.
Yeah. I mean, these are people that
smart people, hardworking, and
amazing.
One of our staff members in the Philippines is actually a licensed attorney over there. So
Yeah.
she's got the skills to be a great resource.
Same
for
thing.
us.
I mean, we have people that work for J.P. Morgan. We have people that are professors
one of ours
in
was at
universities over there.
Accenture.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah.
It really
Is
is.
this more of your back office support?
It is. Yeah. It's
Administrative work, processing.
that plus marketing. I mean, it's just a
Marketing.
little bit of
Marketing,
It's
yeah.
it's
So that requires a lot of admin now.
It does.
Yeah.
Do you guys do everything in-house, or?
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all have a different perspective on marketing, but we all market, right? And Dorossi invests so much. This is all part of our marketing campaign, and a lot of people have complained about all the email blasts. And so let me ask you this: what's the marketing plan going into 2021?
Social media.
Social media.
I mean, I don't know what you guys, and I never thought I would say this, but we're on TikTok. I mean,
Really?
You're on TikTok?
we're on TikTok. You'll see
He
me.
actually has some great videos.
You'll see me out there with my iPhone,
That's
and
awesome.
Yeah.
and it's amazing. If someone, and my niece about 2 years ago told me you should go on TikTok. I mean, it's amazing. I'm like, you're 14 years old. Why would I go on TikTok?
But college graduates who are, they're on TikTok.
It's amazing. We're actually getting business from TikTok
Yeah.
where there are borrowers that are very active, very good at what they do. Guys that have done 10 deals in the past 2 or 3 years. Surprisingly, they're on TikTok.
There you go.
So that's really been our play is social media, not only TikTok, but social media in general. We're really doubling down on that. We've really built out a good team here in the States and abroad to be able to focus on all that.
Fantastic. You guys are on the ground because you guys tagged me last night. But what else?
We're on the ground. We're definitely not on TikTok.
They soon might be though.
It might be. I mean, we're really, as far as hiring, we really have boosted up our marketing department as well. And I think compared to a lot of our competitors, we're not heavy on the marketing. Like some, we're not we don't have booths at the events and things like that. Most of our business is referral or repeat.
Yeah.
Jan is very big on the educational piece. So we do a lot of webinars and hold a lot of events in that sense. And we like to, meet people through providing some type of value add service and education. So it's not really my area of expertise, but we definitely are actively working on, our marketing module that we use to kind of, boost that up. And so we'll be doing some things here in the near future.
Vince?
I guess I'm getting on TikTok.
Yeah. One of our clients is here.
Yeah.
He rented a Lamborghini. He rented a Lamborghini for a TikTok video.
Love it.
He said, I asked him, why you rent the Lambo? He was like, for TikTok, bro.
Oh, that's funny. Well,
Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
We've got our traditional stuff, but to me, I'm going to kind of continue this press into, I want to be talking to the people that need our services before they need it, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the clients that we have now, serving them well and staying in front of them, but really just looking to see who do we want to work with, because we really limit ourselves to 4 main markets. And so really my push has been to be, who do we want to work with, and then make sure that we really support their projects.
Are you doing local meetups and stuff like that with your borrowers?
Meetups, but even really just trying to be really aware of who is delivering really good product in the market, and then just being very intentional about developing relationships. Whether we have one that's maybe we know them, maybe we've met them, or maybe we don't. We just want to get in front of them. And
Are you guys using account managers or anything like that? Or?
A little bit. So that's one thing that we've been pushing and we've hired on is to say, okay, we need people to help identify exactly who we
Prospecting.
with. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then go out with our really LOs now and say, okay, let's make sure that people know who we are, know what we can do. But let's, it was like one thing that we talked about today. What can we really do to customize our financing to really meet their needs? What do they really need? And hopefully that way we're not competing against someone from out of state who does come in with a single digit rate and almost paying to do a loan for something,
Yeah.
right? And instead it's saying, well, what do you really need? Because it's probably more than just the cost of the loan.
Right. And pricing is actually not as important a factor, probably.
Yeah, I think when you can really listen to people and look at their project, how do you really get them from A to B and get them an exit? I think that can be helpful. So that's what we're focusing on this year.
Fantastic. Yeah. And we're going to continue blasting your inboxes with a bunch of content and emails, so we're not going to stop. So look out for that.
I think all of it goes to my clutter. I don't think I
Damn
know
it!
Kevin filter. It's like, wait, Kevin Kim, is it a bill or is it
Ruby emailed me. She says, Kristina, you haven't opened any of the links yet on these. So I was very impressed that you guys even track at that level. So that's impressive.
The value of a CRM is massive.
But that's when I realized it was going to clutter. So
We've invested heavily in CRM technology, tracking, digital marketing, and all that fun stuff. And it's been used with data is the most important thing with marketing. And anything actually.
Data.
It informs your decisions and informs your allocation of resources. And our team has become immensely talented at utilizing data. I mean, all credit goes to Danny. Danny is our data wizard. But
Go Danny.
Yeah, go Danny. Yeah. Last question for you guys. I want to look at a little bit further away. So 2021, 2022, 2023, bullish, bearish. How are we thinking?
Bullish.
Bullish?
Yeah.
All right.
bullish, but just cautious.
Cautious.
With interest rates, with changes in taxation, and
Oh, yeah.
that's it. That's just looking, but it feels right where we are. It feels like we're going to continue to have that growth. I just want to look for any disruption that we have.
Right.
In the future.
Prepare for a disruption.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, guys.
Yes.
Great one. It's a great one. Great one for the records.
Thank
And
you.
I will be in your towns doing a live episode. We will be doing more live episodes, so look out for that. And once again, thank you very much for joining us. This was another episode of Lender Lounge with Kevin Kim. See you on the next one.